My name is McCauley, and tonight what I'd like to do is talk about a dear friend, Pat EGOLF. And I'm at the Pray It Off group where I met Pat in 2008, January 3rd, 2008. And in the room with me now are 80 people who, in one way or another, her life has touched. And her son, Jason, and her daughter-in-law, Crystal, know how much that I wanted to be there last Friday. And it's very difficult with work for everyone, but we're here for Pat now. And we just want you and Tom and Jason and Jordan and Caitlin, her beautiful grandchildren, her sister Dolly and brother-in-law Raymond, to know how special we thought Pat was. When I met Pat at session 1, she sat there with the first 25 people looking at a 338-pound leader, and there was trust that as a group we could maybe work together to try to do something about our weight. Now Pat and I soon discovered that we both went to Lemoyne College. We both were born in 1954, a very good year, and we just hit it off. And soon she was coming to my house and we were going for walks and talking. And you know what's interesting about those talks is that Pat and I told each other everything. Well, the good things we did, the bad things we did, some of our sins, our regrets, our disappointments. And instead of making us not care for each other, we ended up loving each other even more. And then it kind of made us both talk about the love of God, because God knows everything about us. And yet He loves us with an unconditional love. And that's the way Pat and I, and Pat and so many people felt about her. That unconditional love. And you know, it's funny, her love wasn't showy. It wasn't, I'm here and look at me. Here's the kind of love that Pat had. She knew that I was having more and more people in the group, and I had this rickety old notebook. So she went and got me this binder, the Pray It Off Bible. And every week I use it, and every day I think of her when I'm working in it. And it's green, because Pat knew my favorite color was green. And she made me a scarf with a matching hat, and it was green, because she knew my favorite color was green. And I don't know how many prayer shawls that she made for people, strangers, lovingly. In her home, she'd sit there and make the prayer shawls, and she made me one, green, with ribbons and beads, and every day when I look at it, I think of Pat. And my daughter got married, and we had the wedding at our house, and it was hectic. And the next day, all of a sudden, there's a knock on the door, and Pat shows up, and she says, I'm here to clean up. She stayed there the whole day, and she did dishes, and we cleaned the yard. We never had a better time. We talked, we laughed. She came to help clean up. That was the way Pat was. And here is what she did for me that almost, in a way, saved my life. Pat worked 20 years as an IRS auditor. And good old Ellen, for 10 years, had her own business where she didn't do such a good job keeping the books, if you will, because I didn't really know what I was doing until I got a letter being audited by the IRS. Now, if anyone's ever gotten that letter, the first thing you do is go, oh my gosh! The second thing I did was say, wait a minute, one of my best friends was an auditor for the IRS. She came to my house of her own accord, sat down with me for hours and hours, helped me get everything in order. Now, without telling stories out of school, Pat didn't leave her job in the best of feelings because she was a breast cancer survivor. There were some problems. There wasn't a lot of love for her old employer. But she sucked it up and went back in that building. And it was very hard for her to do that, but she did it because she wanted to help me. And I didn't have to pay 1 cent, not 1 cent. And as Jean would say, she probably kept you out of jail, Ellen. And we had a good laugh out of that. But I didn't have to pay 1 cent because of her friendship and her love. I'll never forget her to the day I die. I'll never forget her. And I just want you, Jason, and Crystal, and Tom, and Jordan, and Caitlin to know that we here at Pray It Off, we're not just trying to lose weight. We're trying to get closer to God. And that's where she is right now. And there's no more pain. There's no more suffering. And she's going to see Jesus face to face. I'll see you on the other side, Pat. I love you.